today is the ninth day of us reading Bill Clinton, My Life. Last episode we just finished chapter 3 and now on to chapter 4. So, my name's Sean, this is Tian, this is Mum, and
1, 2,
3,
go! Oh,
in the summer, after my first grade year, Daddy decided he wanted to go home to Hot Springs. He sold the book dealership and moved us to a 400-acre farm out on Wildcat Road, a few miles west of the city. It had cattle, sheep, and goats. What it didn't have was an indoor toilet. So for the year or so, we lived out there on the hottest summer days and the coldest winter nights. We had to go outside in the wooden outhouse to relieve ourselves. It was an interesting experience, especially when the non-poisonous king snake that hung around our yard was peering up through the hole at me when I had to go. Later, when I got into politics, being able to say I had lived on a farm with an outhouse made a great story, almost as good as being born in a log cabin. I liked living on the farm, feeding animals and moving among them. Until one fateful Sunday, Daddy had several members of his family out to lunch, including his brother Raymond and his children. I took one of Raymond's daughters, Carla, out into the field where the sheep were grazing. I knew there was one mean ram we had to avoid, but we decided to tempt fate. A big mistake. When we were about 100 yards away from the fence, the ram saw us and started to charge. We started running for the fence. Carla was bigger and faster, and made it. I stumbled over a rock, and when I fell, I could see I wasn't going to make the fence before the ram got to me. So I retreated to a small tree a few feet away, in the hope I could keep him away by running around the tree until help came. Another big mistake. Soon he caught me and knocked my legs out from under me. Before I could get up, he butted me in the head. Then I was stunned and hurt and couldn't get up, so he backed up, got a good head start around me again, as hard as he could. He did the same thing over and over and over again, alternating his targets between my head and my guts. Soon I was pouring blood and hurting like the devil. After what seemed like an eternity, my uncle showed up, picked up a big rock and threw it hard, hitting the ram square between the eyes. The ram just shook his head and walked off, apparently unfazed. I recovered, left with only a scar on my forehead, which gradually grew into my skull. And I learned that I could take a hard hit, a lesson that I would relearn a couple more times in my childhood and later in life.
can you read some? There you go. 1, 2, 3, 10. This time. Yeah. Go.
A few months after we moved to the farm, both my folks were going to town to work. Daddy gave up on being a farmer and took a job as
A parts manager.
a parts manager for Uncle Raymond's Bullock dealership. While Mother found more anesthesia work in Hot Springs than she could handle.
Yes.
One day on the way to work, she picked me up.
She picked us.
She picked up a woman who was walking to town. After they got acquainted, Mother asked her if she knew anyone who would come to the house and look after me while she and Daddy were at work.
You can finish. Go.
In one of the greatest moments, of good luck in my life, she suggested herself. Her name was
Cora.
Cora Walters. She was a grandmother with every good quality and of an old-fashioned country woman. She was wise, kind, upright, conscious, and conscientious, and deeply Christian. She became a member of our family for 11 years.
That's a long time.
Wait, didn't it?
We finish now.
Finish the paragraph.
Oh.
No. All her family were good people. And after she left us, her daughter May Hightower came to work for Mother and stayed 30 more years until Mother died.
Wow.
In another age, Cora Walters would have made a fine minister. She made me a better person by her example. And certainly wasn't responsible for any of my sins. Then or later, she was a tough old girl too. One day she helped me kill a huge rat that was hanging around in our house.
So you buy someone now.
Actually, I found it and killed.
And she?
Found it and she killed it while I cheered.
So we find someone else teach you how to kill the big what did you scare?
We're using the mouse traps.
No, not a trap.
What else?
Let it hang on the wall. What?
Spider.
Yeah. If you find someone else, help you kill spider.
I already do that. When we moved out to the country, Mother was concerned about my going to a small rural school. So she enrolled me in St. John's Catholic School downtown, where I attended 2nd and 3rd grade. Both years, my teacher was Sister Mary Amata McGee, a fine and caring teacher, but no pushover. I often got straight A's on my 6-week report card and a C in citizenship, which was an enthusiasm for good behaviour in class. I loved to read and compete in spelling contests, but I talked too much. It was a constant problem in grade school, and as my critics and many of my friends would say, it's one I never quite got over. I also got in trouble once for excusing myself to go to the bathroom and staying away too long during the daily rosary. I was fascinated by the Catholic Church, its rituals and the devotion of the nuns, but getting on my knees on the seat of my desk and lining on the back with the rosary beads was often too much for a rambunctious boy whose only church experience before then had been the Sunday school and the summer vacation Bible school of the First Baptist Church in Hope.
You finish here or finish it?
Finish here.
Okay. Say hello. Say good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good night.
We'll see you tomorrow.